Hi there, everybody, and welcome to this week's Property AI Report. I'm your host, Mal McCallion, and I'm here to guide you on a 20-minute walk through the worlds of property and AI over the last week. We've got a lot to get through. Things about how public trust in estate agents has hit a record high, about how unfortunately, it looks like agent income has hit something of a low. We've got some advertising properties as football stadiums by property technology companies, and some cheekiness from On the Market about Zoopla. And that's just the property bit. Then we've got stuff all about what Elon Musk is doing versus OpenAI, and then some new stuff about AI Jesus, and of course, our regular tool of the week. So, without further ado, let's get stuck in. Here comes property news. So I wanted to start our property news section with a little bit about the new cheeky ads you may have seen popping up from On the Market. Now, this is a tactic straight out of their toolkit, the CoStar's toolkit from over in the States, where even now, Realtor.com, who is the number 2 player out there to Zillow, who's the number 1, is under relentless attack, a stat attack from CoStar about various numbers that attempt to portray it as essentially its Homes.com stable of brands rather than Homes.com brand itself, overtaking Realtor.com to be the number 2 to Zillow. There was a podcast this week with Mike Del Prete, who was on with the Realtor CEO, and he was complaining bitterly, was the CEO of Realtor, about CoStar's tactics, although he didn't name CoStar. He just said a competitor, and basically saying that it was agents were making terrible decisions about who to advertise with based on some stats that he had some big issues with. And I think that over here as well, you can see, so if you look on Estate Agent Today, or you look on Property Industry Eye, this week On the Market's ads are running saying that they have 56 million visitors per month compared with Zoopla's 47. And in tiny writing, it then says, Zoopla's been saying it's got 47 million. We know we've got 56 according to Google, so we're obviously ahead of them. It's not quite them comparing apples with apples. It's a little bit of, let's find a number that Zoopla has stated is theirs, and then a resource or a source that has said that we've got more. And again, I'm not querying that necessarily these numbers have come through the correct, the right channels. So Zoopla has found its number from where it finds its numbers, and On the Market has gone to Google to find out what it says its traffic is. But it's a really interesting and obviously very combative move from On the Market and CoStar, its owner, to essentially, punch Zoopla really hard and try and portray itself as the natural successor to Zoopla in the number 2 slot, and then taking it on to number 1 and to start fighting Rightmove. This is, however, symptomatic of how difficult it is as a contender. You end up spending so much time and effort actually fighting each other in slots 2 and 3 that your number 1 just sits back and just watches you. And there's that famous quote from the previous CEO of Rightmove, Peter Brooks Johnson, where he essentially said that Rightmove was the guys that were in the kitchen at parties while everybody else was out on the dance floor, and they're just sitting and watching and letting it all happen around them. And this seems to be yet another example of that occurring, where essentially there's going to be chunks taken out of Zoopla by On the Market, and then Zoopla will respond to On the Market and try and slug them back, just like over in the States, Realtor.com is trying to punch back towards Homes.com, CoStar's brand out there, without trying to sound too bitter and awful and just annoyed about it, and not doing so well on that score. So going to be fascinating how it continues to play out. As you guys know from previous podcasts and previous posts that I've put up and blogs on the Bottle Prop website, I do think that this fight is going to end up in a big hug. They're going to get together, Zoopla and CoStar, because I don't think there's any other way that they are going to be in a position to credibly challenge Rightmove, because they have to keep doing this first, which is hitting each other and spending money and wasting money on adverts on property websites to agents, telling them that actually they're ahead of each other, and there's a lot of effort expended in doing that could be spent, and time and money spent on tackling Rightmove instead. Yeah, going to be interesting. I think 2025 is going to be a huge shakedown in the property portal space. But obviously, we will be here to watch on with our popcorn and our microphone, and we'll be chatting about it all the way through. So that's the On the Market Zoopla current fight. Wanted to also just touch on some news about, and Chris Watkin had a great post Obviously, great commentator on the property industry. Great post on LinkedIn about a comparison between agency income in 2024 versus 2000. And he claims that he's done the numbers and essentially that an estate agency was earning over £500,000 adjusted for inflation in today's money. So 511,000 a year compared to 221,000 a year right now. So a 56% drop. Now, obviously, the use of the word agency there indicates that it's actually a single brand, and there are a lot more individuals, so self-employed agents, for example, around now. So that may be dragging the average down. However, that's a lot. To go from 511,000 per year, again adjusted for inflation, back then to 221, over half drop, is very significant. As we go through, particularly into next year, when things are looking a little bit dicey following the budget, and obviously Trump's tariffs and protectionism is going to come into play as well. There is talk today of a recession potentially coming down the track. So it's going to be an interesting 2025. And yeah, obviously in terms of overall revenues, a lot is made by commentators who don't really know very much about the property industry, that property prices have gone up and therefore estate agency income has gone up for very little additional work. It is, like I said, that's from people who don't really know actually how much additional work is going into it. Also, how much additional costs are being incurred from the likes of Rightmove particularly. But it's going to be an interesting time, and yeah, it'd be really interesting to see whether that number, so that drop from 511,000 to 221,000 is actually accepted as being something that is broadly true. And yeah, obviously, anybody wanted to comment on this, please do so on YouTube. We've got the video up there, and we'll undoubtedly be putting out some of the little snippets of this and other stories as the week goes on over the next week. But yeah, it looks like a significant drop in agent revenue over the last 25 years or so in real terms. Next, just wanted to have a quick look at one of the PropTech industry's real success stories. So Street and its sister brand Spectre, they got 3.3 million in investment this week, which is a hugely positive indicator of the health of the PropTech sector. It's not always a place that you see significant investment coming into. There's a lot of businesses working really hard to solve some problems that agents and homeowners, home buyers, sellers, landlords, tenants have. They don't always get the recognition they deserve. So it's brilliant to see a great business like Street and Helen and Tom and their team receiving the recognition in financial terms that they're due, and also in terms of winning awards galore at the EA Masters and the Esters this awards season. So yeah, huge congratulations to them. Well done. Brilliant products, great team, and really great ambassadors for the sector as well, PropTech. So congratulations to them. Also seen that they've been doing some advertising at the rugby as well. So that's really good. The England versus Greece game, they were advertising on the hoardings going around the pitch. So yeah, brilliant to see them out there doing that, championing estate agents as well. So the adverts that they were putting out there was basically saying that there are some decent estate agents out there, come and find them with Street, which I think was cheeky but good. Zoopla is also doing a big up estate agency advertising campaign right now featuring genuine estate agents. So it's interesting how the lowly estate agent is now getting their recognition. And there's also another story from last week in Estate Agents Today saying that public trust in estate agents has hit a record high. So it's all good news for estate agents these days, and congratulations to everybody. But yes, hopefully it will result in more pay, because that seems to be the one thing that's going down. So yeah, that's pretty much our roundup of the property news this week. Now over to AI news. The biggest news of the last week, perhaps unsurprisingly, concerns us Elon Musk. Now, this isn't the fact that he is now the president-elect Donald Trump's right hand. He calls himself the first buddy now, if that doesn't make you cringe too much. The big news in the tech space is that he's amended his lawsuit against OpenAI. Very quick recap on OpenAI versus and Elon Musk. So Elon Musk was actually one of the founders of OpenAI. So OpenAI runs ChatGPT. So they created ChatGPT almost exactly 2 years ago. They launched ChatGPT 3.5. That was on the 30th of November 2022. And that was the moment when everyone turned around and went, oh my God, like AI can really do some great stuff. And to be quite honest with you, that's when we started getting really into it here at Model Prop. So I set up the business pretty soon after that. And yeah, it was basically because the opportunities and what AI could demonstrably do following OpenAI's launch of ChatGPT 3.5 in November 2022 was so phenomenal. But Elon Musk was part of the team that set this up some 5 years before that. And essentially then fell out with Sam Altman and the other founders, and has since then has been throwing bigger and bigger rocks from the sidelines, essentially decrying the fact that that they set up as an open, the name OpenAI is intentionally trying to indicate that they have openness and open source AI that other people can use, which OpenAI does not have. OpenAI is a closed source platform, and it does not reveal all of its code and its weights, as they call it, of the different models that they produce. But yeah, so Elon Musk has been trying to sue OpenAI, or has been suing OpenAI regularly over a period of some months now. He did have one that was going in, and then in June he killed it, and then he started another one. So now, with his newfound power and right hand of Donald Trump, he has amended his lawsuit against OpenAI and included Microsoft, who's a big backer of OpenAI, as well. So essentially, he is pulling out all of the big guns. He is basically saying to OpenAI and Sam Altman that his newfound power in Washington is going to be used to target them and to keep them tied up in knots and to keep them busy whilst he builds his own AI, which is called XAI, and their large language model, so their kind of ChatGPT equivalent is called Grok, Grok, and it is known for not being as good as OpenAI's ChatGPT by any means, but essentially the one where it doesn't hold back. So you can basically get it to tell you all sorts of things that are protected under the ChatGPT interface, all things about drugs and stuff like that you can find on Grok, should you so wish. I'm reliably informed, obviously. Or you can, yes, it's also got an image generator that can generate images of any living person, which most of the others don't allow you to do as well. So it's a little bit anarchic and out there, kind of what Musk would consider himself to be, I'm sure. So yeah, it's going to be a grind, man. They're just going to keep on keeping on at each other. If I was Sam Altman, I would be sleeping a little bit less comfortably following the election and following Musk's rise. But yeah, it will play out in court over the coming years, without doubt. What does that mean for us? The worry is that it will close down some competitors. The worry is that XAI, Musk's AI, will become not just more dominant, but will be able to elbow out some other good models that compete well. As ones like Anthropic, Mistral over in France is doing pretty well at the moment as well. So there's a lot of concerned that actually this is just a one step towards this particular platform from Musk actually dominating things in a way that real, genuine competition would not necessarily allow it to do. We'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, for now, it's not bothering the peak frontier models, as they call them. Claude from Anthropic is still the best. Gemini from Google has actually had a really good couple of weeks in terms of some of its benchmarks. Gemini from Google was caught rather flat-footed by ChatGPT's launch back in the day, and they've been really struggling to catch up, and they keep making some big old missteps along the way. But they seem now to generally be getting their act together. So Gemini's worth a look. Claude from Anthropic's worth a look. ChatGPT from OpenAI is also worth a look. But yes, I don't think Grok is there yet. XAI is there yet, but yes, if Musk has his way, then obviously he will be there pretty soon, whether he has to take everybody else out on the way, or he's actually just got to build one that is comparable and competitive. So that's the big stuff. Else is happening out there in AI and in tech. 11 Labs is a really good voice synthesizer for AI. And it's one that we use in many of our products. It's now looking at how to make conversational AI available. So this is where you and we, for you, are able to bring these tools that allow you to essentially talk to a customer service agent that is an AI agent. So we're working really hard on bringing that into the estate agent market, of course. So watch this space. But yeah, there's so much going on, and it's just really cool and great fun. And there is lots and lots. If you're looking towards 2025 and you're thinking about what you might want to do from an AI perspective, then obviously get in touch with us. But yeah, just keep an eye out for a lot of really brilliant technology coming into play, certainly towards the end of this year, early next. And there's talk of ChatGPT 5. There are loads and loads of other releases coming from other models, and there's going to be a lot more around image to video, text to video. So you just type in a prompt and a video will pop up, and it's going to be quite amazing. But yes, anybody wanted to keep abreast of it, obviously keep listening to the Property AI report every week, and then reach out if you've got any questions to me, of course, as well. Alrighty, so we've got a couple more sections to go. We're introducing for this week our first ever occasional Weird AI of the Week. So this week's Weird AI of the Week is AI Jesus. Yes, if you find it a little bit difficult to confess all to a priest behind a curtain in your church, then you can now actually talk to an AI that will essentially listen to your confession and decide whether to absolve you of your sins. So it's brand new. It's really quite, it's taking one of those things that to the extreme, as there will always be people doing in Lucerne in Switzerland. And yes, parishioners are apparently saying how amazing it is, and it's so easy. And there is a machine, it gave me so much advice, is a quote from one parishioner. So keep an eye out for that. If this is your particular thing, then there is an AI solution for that. Those awkward conversations that you have in the confessional where you can't quite bring yourself to describe your sins in great detail. Luckily, AI is there to listen in and to give you some great advice going forward. So that's our Weird AI of the Week. And finally, we are talking, of course, about our Tool of the Week. So Tool of the Week this week, great news from Microsoft and their Teams. So I know many agents use Teams because I've been on Teams meetings with many of you. This is going to allow you to clone your voice for Teams meetings. Now, what you may first of all think is, that's great. That means I don't have to say anything and I can just kick back and fall asleep. But actually, this means that it can translate your voice into multiple languages. So that's the first jumping off point. Yes, in due course, you will be able to kick back and fall asleep, and that'll be fun. But yes, for now, it is literally that you're going to be able to live and in real time, as you speak, people can change their settings so that they can hear you in Swahili or any of the other languages that are available via Microsoft. Yeah, look, genuinely going to be helpful if you do a lot of work. You've got some investors over in other countries like China, for example, then the ability for them to hear you in Mandarin could be very effective, and particularly if you're giving it your best pitch and then you have to just usually type it away or something like that, then actually this is going to be a real-time energy presentation and meeting rather than necessarily something that gets stymied by a lot of delays while you have to try and work out what each other's saying. But yes, this is just another example of what AI is bringing to the productivity side of things. And I think it's a really, really interesting development, and one that I'm sure we'll see from all of the other platforms, from Zoom and others, and Google going forwards as well. So that is it for your Property AI report for this week. Thanks very much indeed for listening in. We'll be back next week with yet another slug of Property AI news. Looking forward to catching up again then. I'm Mal McCallion, and I will see you soon. All the very best. Take care. Bye-bye.